One of the things that I was planning to implement into my life in 2026 to improve my life and well-being at 51 was intermittent fasting. However, about a week ago, I watched a video by a YouTuber called Thomas DeLauer, who talks a lot about fasting and intermittent fasting, all of these type of things. And now I have changed my mind. I will no longer do intermittent fasting in 2026. But let me tell you what I'm planning to do instead. And in case you do not know what intermittent fasting is, it basically means that you have and the typical intermittent fasting is where you have an eating window of 8 hours. So 8 hours of the 24 hours day where you can eat or where you eat. And you have 16 hours where you have no caloric intake, no food, no drinks with any calories. You can have water, you can have tea, you have coffee, but no, 0-calorie drinks that is full of alternative sweeteners and whatnot. Just water, coffee, tea, those 16 hours. Now, I personally like the idea or the concept of having a limited window of where you eat. However, either way, I'm always trying not, and this is one of my 2026 things as well, is that I try not to eat after 6 o'clock or absolutely latest 7 o'clock because it actually affects my sleep. However, in the video, this Thomas guy, he referenced some research reports that now suggest that if you do continuous fasting, you are in a fasted state every day, which you would be if you would be doing intermittent fasting. You would do that every day, all the time, all year round. It suggests that if you do that only after a few weeks, your metabolic rate will lower. And I certainly do not want a lowered metabolic rate. I want it as high as possible because I'm trying to improve my health and trying to lose weight. And in addition to that, as I've shown in several previous videos, I have a list with 55 or more points of 1% improvements that I'm implementing into my life in 2026. And there are many of those points that contains food things or other things that doesn't fit very well with the concept of intermittent fasting. However, I have 2 health issues that I need to take seriously. And the first one is that I'm pre-diabetic. I am currently pre-diabetic. That means my insulin levels are very, very high. However, they are lower than they used to be because last year I had type 2 diabetic, which I was able to reverse, but I'm still pre-diabetic, so I'm in no shape or form safe in that regards. I still need to fix it. I still need to lower my insulin. I still need to have a better lower glucose level in my blood. I need to get that whole stuff down, and because it still causes a lot of issues with my systems, heart, cardiovascular systems, etc. And the second problem that I have is that I'm fat. Now, in my case, I am largely inside fat. Yeah, I have some outside fat, but to a large extent, I'm inside fat, which means that I have a lot of the fat and the weight that I'm carrying is in the form of fat around my organs. And in addition to that, I also have a little bit fatty liver. Now that has been confirmed by doctors and whatnot. Now it isn't as much that it's alarming right now. However, it is not good, it's not great, so it needs to be fixed. I need to get rid of my fatty liver. And all of this fat, which is in your liver and around your organs, is visceral fat. And the best way, apparently, and so says some doctors anyway, is the best way to get rid of your visceral fat is through fasting. And because when you're in a fasted state, the body uses visceral fat as fuel, and that's why fasting is so good, or the only way to really get rid of your visceral fat. But from that perspective, if the body uses visceral fat for fuel, then shouldn't intermittent fasting then be a better option? Because then I will basically be fasted every day. But as these research reports shows, if you do this every day over a long period of time, your metabolic rate will go down, and well, that's kind of the opposite of what I am trying to achieve. I want my metabolic rate, so my caloric burn is as high as possible, while at the same time, obviously, trying to get rid of the visceral fat. Okay, now back to the video by this Thomas guy. And what am I doing instead of intermittent fasting? Well, in this video, this Thomas, he referenced these research reports, this research that has been done that suggests that you can achieve the same or similar results as you would when you do intermittent fasting by doing one 24-hour fast per week or a 36-hour fast every 10 days. But I've obviously read a lot about this, I've researched a lot about this, and what I understand is that there are much more processes that happens in your body the longer you stay fasted. Now, itchy. Now, so if you stay longer fasted, it will, I guess, eat more visceral fat. It will use visceral fat longer. But if you only do this fasting once per week or a longer fast every 10 days, you don't risk lowering your metabolic rate. And then there's the whole concept of autophagy. Cells start cleaning up or cleaning out bad cells and all of that stuff. Not going to go into that. That's not a topic for this video. But for me, as a fat person who is inside fat, who is, I guess I'm technically qualifying as obese, at least a lot of the numbers suggest that I am, but I'm quite big and fairly big and muscular to begin with, but I have a big layer of fat now. Anyway, all this to say, what I really need is that visceral fat burning, and that, as I understand it, happens a lot more from 16 to 24 hours than it does from 0 to 16 hours. Therefore, in my case, it suggests or seems like it is more beneficial for me to do 24-hour fasts instead of intermittent fasting. And the thing is that my diabetic situation is ultimately also caused by my lifestyle, which has made me fat, which has made me sick. And therefore, in order to reverse all of that, to become a better version of myself, better health, burn visceral fat, lose weight, and all of that stuff, 24-hour fasting seems to be the right choice for me. And I think I also mentioned that previously with the all the other 1% improvements that I'm implementing in my life in 2026. Actually, there's so many things on that list which would actually crash head to head with intermittent fasting. So from that perspective, I'm actually quite happy about this discovery and finding this video by this guy Thomas. And yeah, this and actually I think I mentioned it in the video that I made about my first 24-hour fast, is that having a 24-hour fast actually fits really good into my life and my schedule, because when I am in a fasted state over 24 hours, I don't have a lot of energy. I don't feel super good, at least not in the last 4 to 6 hours. So I'm sort of forced to slow down. I can't go to the gym. Well, actually, I have gone to the gym both of the times, but I can't. I don't have the normal amount of energy. I don't feel bad, but I also don't feel like pushing anything. So what I end up is actually slowing down, usually watching Netflix, and having a day off without work, basically, which, you know, is good. As I'm recording this, I'm actually 5 hours into my fast. It is now almost 9 o'clock on Saturday evening. I had my last meal at 4 o'clock today, which means I will have my next meal tomorrow after 4 o'clock. Before I proceed, and I also need to make this disclaimer warning, I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice. I'm just a guy on the internet who has seen a video by another guy on the internet. So please do your own research, talk to your doctor. This is just for entertainment purposes, and I'm just sort of showing what I'm doing. You need to do you. The first fast that I did was awesome, which was the video I made. The second one was also good. However, I broke the fast in a shitty way. So I actually ended up not sleeping so good, and I didn't have a great Monday following. However, tomorrow when I break my fast, so break my fast means when I stop fasting and start eating, I will do that better, and hopefully I've learned my lesson from last weekend failure, in the sense. So yeah, I'm learning, you know, I'm still making mistakes, and I'm learning as I am going. I am planning to do these 24-hour fast every week for at least 6 months and see how it goes. It seems to be working, from the sense that I've said in one of my previous videos that I'm on a weight loss journey, that I have these goals of losing a certain amount of weight, and that means in order to achieve that goal by January 1st, I need to lose 2 kilos per month, or about 4.5 pounds per month. And so far, we are now 17 days into January, and I'm at 3.5 pounds down so far, so almost 2 kilos. So I'm quite close to that goal, and I still have 2 weeks to go. So definitely on track. Is that because of the fastings? Well, I definitely believe that they are part of the equation, at least. Now, the only problem that I do have currently with the fasting is that, once again, I don't have electrolytes. I really need to get on Amazon and order some. But for now, I'm going to use the trick with my good, proper sea salt from Greece, I think it is. and magnesium, and that will have to do for now. But yeah, I need to get my magnesium going. Yeah. Oh, actually, the last thing is going to actually be quite interesting, because 1st of February is on a Sunday in 2 weeks from now. So that means when I weigh in after 1 month of continuous improvements and eating better, training a lot, fastings, when I wake up, which is when I do my weigh-ins, I will be in a fasted state, and I will be 15, 16 hours into the fasted state of that 24-hour state. So that can be interesting to see when that day comes. Anyway, that was all that I had for you today, and there will be a new video tomorrow.